What up, it's Guru Jojo. I'm doing the Oracle forecast for the Earth signs. So it's going to be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, right? I'm sitting on the floor because I don't have like a desk or anything like. Nah, technically I don't. I sort of do, but I don't really use that desk, so it doesn't even matter. But just so you guys can see some of the cards or whatever. Was I using this? Yeah, I was. So illuminated, angel, and then this is the blind spot deck. So angel, oracle, illuminated, and the blind spot. So I'm starting with Taurus. You can apply this to your sun sign, your moon sign, or your rising sign. You see card number 6. Alright, it says your trauma. If you've drawn this sigil, you are not seeing how your own trauma is feeding into the situation, is causing recurrence, or is causing you not to see the objective truth of the situation beyond your filters. Trauma is essentially distress without resolve. When we experience distress, we cannot find a way to genuinely create resolve for that distress. We end up coping. That trauma becomes like a skipping CD that we never move beyond. We do not weave the pain that happened into the tapestry of our life, a tapestry of choosing, so that the trauma adds to our life. Instead, it only takes away from it. So, it's like a lot of Tauruses may need to be working through phoniness. So it could be situations and people around them that could be expressing themselves in a way to overcompromise, whether this be yourself or others. Most likely both, because we're all reflections of stuff that we're internalizing. And this is why relationships are important, because it can show you your hidden sides of yourself that you may not be acknowledging in some way. So I'm gonna pull an angel card now for Taurus. Again, you're gonna apply this to your sun sign, your moon sign, or your rising sign. If you do hear air sounds coming out of my MacBook, I have the MacBook Air, which I partially regret getting because the camera that comes with the MacBook, it's not good, and so I had to get a webcam to add to it. And the issue with that is when you plug in the webcam with also the charge port, the MacBook has no space to escape, like the air to escape. So between me eating snacks perhaps, and I haven't been eating snacks while using my MacBook for a while, but it's like all that stuff gets clogged, so the air is like clogged, it's not escaping from me. It's like whatever. So anyways, 4 fire is the card received. 4 wands in the traditional tarot reads contentment, peace, and abundance, a happy home life, the successful completion of a project. So you could be in the process of showcasing something, or maybe you're seeing something that someone has showcased in some way. It's the completion of a project, so keep that in mind. Alright, so far 2 of diamonds, 7 of hearts, and the King of Spades. The 2 of hearts in this deck is connected to the High Priestess, alright? So, and it's reading, basically, there could be a lot of some confusion going on for Tauruses. Like I said, there's something where you need to start to realize where something could be like phony, or something may not be as what it seems with the 7 of hearts, which is connected to the 7 of cups in traditional tarot. And it's not a bad card. It just indicates where the opportunities that you are looking towards and hoping to come about, that it's not stable. So there's no clear opportunity So you're unsure about the opportunities available for you. Also, too, on a negative side, there could be an air sign individual in your life that you could be seeing, you could be in relations with. They could be your boss, or they could simply be somebody that you're connected to, and you're simply just unsure about this person because you're not sure about this person's motives. And that's, and you know, this is somebody you need to be careful with, because you don't really know what their intentions are. And there's a term for this that I'm trying to think of, but it's like when somebody is showing you like smoky mirrors or something. I don't know what, you could look it up. It's a phrase and that they say when somebody is like kind of putting you in a clouded space of confusion and illusion. And this would just be on a day-to-day basis. So not like you're going to see a magician. That's normal to see something like that. But you know, when it comes to a particular type of person who's pulling some strings behind the scenes with that High Priestess card, possibly, and they could be switching things up. Like they could be switching up information or something like that. So on a very mundane level, it's almost like how I switched up the way that this is being showcased with the 4 fire, you know what I'm saying? But you have to understand this is also being applied to something bigger in your life for the next 2.5 months, that things are switching up. And perhaps these things are switching up so that you could see things better behind the scenes, so that you could see the reality of things a little bit better in some way. But there's things going around that's not true, or that's, it's not that it's not true, it's just not as what it seems, and you're starting to realize what's really going on, and you're starting to see more of a broader scope so that you can come out of this confusion energy. But also too, what I'm seeing is that some people are just confused about a particular person. I think some people could be confused about this person's things that they're showcasing and broadcasting. And just motives in general with the fire energy. You could be confused about certain people's motives and other people's motives. And you could be confused about them being, you know, an authority in the area of guidance or communication in some way. But you should be gaining clarity, a lot more clarity in that area, possibly. Overall, in general, what's happening in the life of Taurus is that they're gaining a lot more clarity and insight as to any sort of confusion regarding their love life, regarding their sexuality, other people's sexuality, as well as other people's intentions and other people's communications, and you know, the meaning behind these things, the things that you showcase and broadcast out to the world, whether it be in your everyday mundane life. There's a need to be more clear. There's people around you confused, or you could be confused about others. What I'm seeing is, as I said, everything's a reflection. As long as you start to bring more clarity to the external world, you will start to receive that back eventually. Sometimes, you know, if you are a person who's more of a leader, okay, what's going to happen is, since you're more of a leader, when you start to take those steps to show that you're trying to bring clarity to some sort of confusion, then that will help to inspire others to want to do the same. So that's pretty much what I'm seeing for Taurus, and that's what's going to be going on for the next 2.5 months, is just you having to take that leadership to take the first steps to show, you know, more about what's hidden, and clear up that confusion. And I think that right now is a great time to try to compromise. Like, there needs to be more of a compromisation with the blending of reality and those little neat things that we like to do. Like, for example, if I were to place a projector on this wall or something like that, that would be something that would be real neat. But the problem is, there's people who like things real, like, organic, and, like, even though it doesn't matter, like, to be honest, it's like people don't know what they want anyway. They always look for something to be wrong. I'm being, like, completely natural right now, and there's people who probably don't like that. You know what I'm saying? And if I place a projector on the wall, I'm fake. So you have to really decide for yourself, like, what do you value? And, you know, and just do what you want at the same time as compromising to your audience. But at the end of the day, audience anywhere, like, whether it be a regular mundane job, whether it be you're a person who's like a personal speaker, whatever you call it, you know, people always are going to look for something to be wrong. So, you know, and that's confusion within themselves a lot of the times. And I think you're gaining clarity in that area. Like, I know for me personally, I'm not a Taurus, but I've just been a person who realized that no matter what I do, people always look for something to be wrong because I'm a Virgo rising. So at the end of the day, I have to find my own personal, you know, comfortability. So that's what I'm seeing pretty much. You know, I hope, like, what I said is helpful, and I'm going to be doing Virgo next. What up? This is for Virgo, sun sign, moon sign, and rising sign. So 2.5 month check-in type of reading just before, you know, 2021. Alright, this card wants to pop out here. This is card number 68. If you have drawn this sigil, you are currently self-harming. And this self-harming you are engaged in is not benefiting you or anyone else in the situation. Instead, it is keeping you stuck. There is always a positive motive for our self-harming behavior. We might be telling ourselves that if we punish ourselves, we will never make the same mistake again, or that we can do penance and be more likely to restore a sense of our own goodness. We might be using self-harm as a white flag. If we grew up in an antagonistic household, we often learn that if we wounded ourselves, other people would no longer have any occasion to wound us. We might be constantly criticizing ourselves, thinking that the criticism will cause us to maintain perfection in our performance. Now, this is a Virgo card in general, because Virgos are very critical of themselves. So it kind of makes sense that this card was pulled. So I'm seeing that Virgos may need to come up with a new way of preventing others from almost being critical. It's like they had a way in which they decided to be critical of themselves to, like, almost prevent maybe others from being critical of them, but that's like an outdated method perhaps. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull an angel oracle card next for Virgo. You can apply it to your sun sign, moon sign, rising sign. I don't know if I said that in the beginning, but and your Venus too, if you're curious about love and money situations. Okay, this card just fell out here. Alright, so this is the Empress card, and it's Archangel Gabriel. Card number 3, lavish abundance, give birth to your dreams, nurture yourself and others. Alright. Two of Hearts came out. This is connected to temperance, so a need to definitely balance you know, your responsibilities in your life, possibly with creative endeavors, as well as maybe a need to be a little bit more emotional and less like practical. Some Virgos could be too practical, and then also think of it in the other way. Some could be too emotional and less practical lately. This card wants to pop out here. Looks like it's 2 of Diamonds, connected to 2 of Pentacles in traditional tarot, and in this deck it's connected to the High Priestess. So what I'm seeing basically is that there's definitely a strong feminine energy connected with Virgos lately, possibly with the Empress and the High Priestess card. Some secrets and whatnot are maybe trying to, you could just be juggling a lot of things, but I'm seeing that any sort of secrets and whatnot, or things that you've been holding on to, they could be, I don't want to say more exposed, because you got 8 of Hearts. So this connected like 8 of Cups. You could be walking away from something that was hidden about other people that you could have found out about, because you just feel indifferent towards the situation. But I'm also seeing that, so if there was any past love interest, at this time you decided to completely end it, and maybe you're starting something new with someone else, and it's more low-key, it's more quiet because you're not sure about it yet. That's some Virgos as it relates to their love life. Other Virgos could be starting a new type of work. This work is also more low-key, okay? And it could simply just be like occult work or something like that, like you're a tarot card reader, or you could just be working behind the scenes of a particular job. What I mean by this, a simple example in a mundane way, you work for a company, and you are the computer person. You never really see people, you mostly just handle phone calls and emails. That's a behind the scenes job. You're not out in the front desk portion, you're behind the scenes handling information and data as it relates to technical difficulties and stuff like that. All right. And perhaps with this type of job, there's definitely a need for you to be balanced. There's definitely a need for you to not overindulge in certain things, in substances and any sort of pleasures. You need to definitely be more balanced in that area and practice moderation. Other Virgos may be in the process of recovery and quitting something that they might have quit. They walked away from something they might have been emotionally attached to. This could have been a substance as it relates to this 2 of Hearts, which also could have been a relationship. But whatever this is, it was maybe a past addiction that you were not moderating effectively or something like that. This is for some Virgos. Okay, so I said some Virgos are dealing with a situation for the next 2.5 months as it relates to a relationship that they walked away from because there was indifference, and now they could be involved in a more secretive relationship, something more behind the scenes or something like that. Other Virgos are dealing with a situation in their work in which they're working more behind the scenes, and they need to practice moderation between that practical side of life and possibly their more creative and emotional side of life or something like that. Other Virgos are possibly in a relationship with somebody. Other Virgos are recovering from some sort of addiction issue, or they're dealing with a person who needs to recover from an addiction issue, and they want to walk away from this issue that they have, and you are supposed to be helping them in some way. But if you are providing your services to help this sort of person, they need to give you some sort of pay and respect. Okay, a lot of Virgos be helping people out and they don't get anything back in return, and you're not supposed to accept that stuff right now. It's just not going to happen, and that could be why you might be walking away from that situation as well, because you don't want to deal with the back and forth. This person could be flip-floppy. One minute they're in recovery process, another minute they're right back on the substance. With the Empress card, it says lavish abundance, give birth to your dreams, nurture yourself and others. So yeah, you're trying to balance between nurturing yourself and also caring about yourself, because you could be around selfish people, so you need to learn to moderate that. That's one thing about being spiritual. A lot of the Virgos that are tuning into this reading, you guys are spiritual people, and one thing about being spiritual is you need to really be reminded of your own sense of self-worth, because if you're not, people love to take advantage of spiritual people. It's one thing I cannot stand. That's why in my most recent song, Fellowship, I say, refunds like I'm extra paid. That's an affirmation to remind people of their own sense of self-worth, because as an empath, as a spiritual person, a light worker, a starseed, whatever way you want to say it, people love to take advantage of your kindness. Okay? But Virgos are practical people. People need to start paying up for your kindness. That's what I'm seeing for Virgos, straight up. So I hope this reading was helpful. I'm doing Capricorn next. Whatever, I'm doing the Oracle forecast 2.5 months just to check in right before 2021 for Capricorn. All right, you can apply this to your sun sign, your moon sign, or your rising sign. Let's see what the messages are that you need to receive for Capricorn. You could also apply it to your Venus sign if you're curious about love and financial situations. Alright, so the card Capricorns receive is card number 66. Alright, it says conversion. If you have drawn this sigil, you are either being congratulated or warned. Either you have made a positive change on the mental and emotional level that is now converting in the body physically as increased well-being, or your lack of awareness of emotional and mental stress is now making it become physical in the form of decreased well-being. In other words, the emotional and mental aspect of the truth of yourself that you are not aware of is converting into physical symptoms. So this is just a situation where any sort of emotional setbacks and whatnot that you haven't been dealing with in your life, you may notice that it's now transforming into physical alignments and like physiological issues. So illnesses, being sick, or just maybe it could be anything. But let's just see, maybe what's going on. Capricorns, I've said in other videos, other tarot forecasts, I did a live like right before the new year started, or it was on Christmas Eve, and I was saying how Capricorn is the sign of like, detaching from the physical body, opposite of Cancer. So it looks like the Lovers card here was received as an Angel Oracle card. Card number 6, Archangel Raphael. Intimate relationships, carefully weigh your decisions, and good health. So it's like opposing this card that was initially pulled. But I was saying, like, I did a live on Christmas Eve of 2019, and I mentioned how, Capricorns, they like to detach from their own physical body, and sometimes they forget to tend to their own bodily signs. They could be so caught up with like work and professional life and reputation and status that they forget you need to take care of yourself and listen to your body too. All right, 8 of Diamonds connect to the 8 of Pentacles in traditional tarot. King of Spades, and also the 8 of Spades. So let's see what's going on. Some Capricorns are dealing with a relationship. It looks like this relationship is possibly not the best. Or at least there's communication not being expressed. Now this pretty much goes for everyone because Mercury's in retrograde in Scorpio right now. So those hidden thoughts are coming more to the surface. We could see it. You want to say something, you probably should say it now, because it's now being expressed almost either passive aggressively, or like in this card that was first chosen, it could be a physical issue now for you. So almost like a cough. Every time you want to say something and you can't actually say it because you've been holding back on it so much, you don't know how to approach the situation, you start to cough. Like things like that, And with the Lovers card here, it could be involving a love situation, or it could be involving a decision you need to make in maybe 2 different people who you could have been seeing, and now you want to make a decision as to who you want to see. Or this could be a past love situation which was broke off and you no longer communicate with this person, and now you're being inclined to having to communicate with this person again. Some are dealing with court situations with this King of Spades connected to the King of Swords in traditional tarot. Okay, we see court energy here. The 8 of Pentacles, or the 8 of Diamonds in this deck, it looks like there could be some research that needs to be done. If it's not that, then there could be something to do with starting a new program in some way. It's almost like some people, if they're having a court situation, they're being sort of let off the hook from doing some sort of like program or service type of thing. You know, almost like some maybe it's like a jury duty thing, but others it's like, you know how if you were speeding or something like that, you like if you're driving, you're speeding, you can sometimes you can take like a class so that you can get the points off of your license. It's like some of y'all are going through that sort of thing, where, you know, to save some money and you can get the points taken off of your license, you could take that class. You know, it's like a long class they usually have available on the weekends or something like that, and they can take the points off of your license for that. Others are doing some research in some sort of program that they want to do. I'm seeing some want to be at like a higher position, maybe with the king here, the king of spades. Others are like researching a particular type of behavior of people. This could be specifically like narcissist or something like that. Like you're doing some sort of research on narcissist types of people. With the 8 here. What else am I seeing here? Some of y'all just need to go back to school to learn, or some of y'all need to literally go back and do some research, because you don't have all the information. Okay, you're still confused, you still don't know everything, you're still highly influenced by public opinion, you're still easily influenced by one person's perspective, and one person's opinion completely sways the way that you perceive things. So you're not at that king level yet. The king doesn't need other people's opinion to know what's going on, to make a decision. Okay? Like imagine going to see a professional, and you lay out all the information. You expect them to give you some sort of like, you know, finalization. And they're like, hold on, it's not like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and you need to like call a friend to find out like what the answer is. It's like a lot of y'all are in that vibration, or you're dealing with a person who's like this. They constantly need to call a friend. It may not be direct like that, but that's what's actually going on. They don't know. They're not sure. Despite the fact that they come off like this king of spades and they can communicate a lot, there's a person in your space that really don't have the education to really be talking about the stuff that they be talking about. And they just be running off with the mouth about certain things. And some of this could be directly related to health, is what I'm seeing. For others, it just seems like they could be the person who really don't know everything. And they maybe need to work with another person that knows a little bit better or something like that. It's like there's someone who really don't know what they're talking about, but they're in like some sort of high position, like a high space, like a boss like position, or like a manager, or just like someone who's in like this high position in which they just don't have the credentials to even be in this position to make these decisions, and they keep making the wrong decisions. Like they really don't have any clue as to what they're talking about, but they sound good or something. They come off like this energy. They ask a lot of questions because they're not sure, but I'm seeing this is like indirect. Like, so the questions are not direct at all. Like they won't really ask you something. Instead, it's almost like they'll do things to make you end up answering that question, because it's like done passively. And I'm only saying that because the person is researching something. They're confused. They don't have all the information. They don't have the answers. But they're in this high space of like, you know, they could be a Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or they express the element of air in some way, saying that they are a communicator in some way. Like they could be, you know, so. And the thing is, they don't even have the credentials to be even doing that in the first place. But at the same time, I want people to understand that it doesn't matter whether or not you have a degree. what I mean by credentials is I mean like this person really doesn't know what they're talking about. Like they really don't have, they haven't done any research. I understand some people could just channel messages. This person could be strictly like a channeler, so they're able to channel these messages and stuff, but they really don't actually know what they're talking about. Like, I don't know how else to put it. And it's like showing through their actual body and stuff in some way. Like their body, the way that it's functioning, and the way that they live their life, and their lack of communication and expressing their truth is now starting to kind of like conflict with their body, because they're not really being truthful as to like who they are and how they feel and what they really know. And they keep looking for outside influences as to what they should actually say in life and what they should actually be doing in life. And that's what's going on for Capricorns for this next 2.5 months. And I hope this reading was helpful. The best, you know, I don't want to just end it off on that. My thing is, what I'm seeing is that this information's coming out, and it's best to actually like maybe do some research before actually taking advice directly from these kind of people or that kind of person. At the same time, if this is you, that's the person, you know, that doesn't know what they're talking about, then maybe you should just be doing a little bit more research before just coming out and like saying certain things or something like that. A lot of people are confused about which direction to go in a situation. This could be as simple as the election. They don't know who to vote for. You know what I'm saying? For circumstances like that. It's like the blindfold needs to be taken off, but for some people, and for others, the blindfold needs to be put on because they just strictly think that something is good based upon what they can see. So superficial, and I've said this so many times. Like, so many people are too superficial, and this superficiality, it is being the main way that they make decisions, and they're making a mistake each time. They're making a mistake. That's what I'm seeing for Capricorn. And I hope this was helpful. That will be all.